Welcome back to Rise and Shine with Eli, and the topic of today's video is let go of your past to reach future success. One more time, let go of your past to reach future success. So when I came up with this topic, obviously I've had experience in dealing with this regarding myself. In my younger days, after my first two relationships with women that I was very emotionally attached to because I was younger, I was more immature, more insecure, a little more needy. I was a young guy, I didn't understand women as much as I do nowadays. Now, don't get me wrong. Any guy that says they understand everything about women is an idiot, in my opinion, because I don't even think women understand everything about themselves. So how can guys understand everything about women? I'm kidding, ladies, but there's a lot of truth to that, right? But, I didn't understand women and didn't understand, how to be a better man as well as I do nowadays. And what happened was, after my first two relationships, I withdrew. I was so hurt as a man. And I was like, F women, I don't want to deal with women. I never want to talk to a woman again. I never want to date a woman again. I cannot go through the pain of the breakup, right? Because, I was getting easily emotionally attached. I was getting attached way too quickly, right? And I was coming off needy and weak and desperate and insecure. And I didn't even know what the hell that was back then in my teens and my early 20s, right? Okay. But as I started to get into my mid 20s and my later 20s, I started to become more confident. I started growing up more. I started to talk with other friends, older friends, about women and stuff like that. And then as the internet started to get more and more popular, I would read forums. Nowadays, you young guys have YouTube, you have Twitter, you have Reddit, you have all of these forums where, you have so much information at your fingertips that I didn't have when I was your age. Like, if we go back to my first relationship when I was, 16 and years down the road in my early 20s when she broke it off with me, we're looking at 28 years ago? The internet was just about to come out around that time. When the internet first came out, there wasn't a lot out there. We had dial-up modems, and there just wasn't what there is today. So, I had to learn to let go of the past. I had to learn to get a better grip on my emotions. I also had to learn to become a stronger man. And let me tell you where I learned that from. My father taught me that. Okay? My father, he had some funny one-liners. And I'll mention one here right now for example purposes. And one of my ex-girlfriends, he didn't like. And, my dad said one time, son, I don't like your girlfriend. I'm like, why is that, Dad? Because she's no good for you. How do you know, Dad? I just feel it in my heart. My dad had experience dating women before he met and married my mother, right? So my dad knew all this stuff that I now know because, I'm about the age or getting closer to the age of where my dad told me all that, right? And so I started to, I was at my father's place that day, and I was leaving to go back to my place. And as I was walking out, my dad goes, "You know what, son? It's funny what the man will do for a piece of pussy." And I'm like, I can't believe I heard that come out of my dad's mouth. I've shared this story many times. Some of you have been following me for a while know this story. If you're new here, it's comical, right? This old school Greek guy is telling me it's funny what a man will do for a piece of, punani, right? Okay. And I had a Mustang convertible back then. I got into my car, I peeled out. I was really, really pissed off. But years down the road, to make a long story short, because I've shared this before, I actually went back to see my father and I apologized to him. and told him he was right about everything. And my dad was really cool about it. He was like, son, you were younger, you were learning, you didn't know, I was once your age, blah, 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 right? And it was at that point where I really, really started to understand, not to get too attached. And if you get attached and things don't work out, to learn how to handle that emotion and learn to let that emotion go quicker, work through it quicker, so that way you can put yourself back out there and find someone better, right? Because like I said, back in my younger days, whenever I would be in a relationship, especially my first two relationships, and even, a few of them after that, whenever I'd go through a breakup, I would just feel hurt. I would feel like devastated. I didn't feel like doing anything for like a month or two or three, right? Well, it got to the point of, as I got older and I, would date women and if they would break up with me, it would still sting. But I learned to handle it better because I had let go of what happened in the past. I had let go and started understanding that sometimes things just don't work out. And if it's not meant to be, if a woman doesn't want to be with me, if she's breaking up with me, she doesn't feel it. And why would I want to try to stay with a woman that doesn't feel it for me in the same way I feel it for her? I want to be with someone that feels the same way about me as I feel about her, right? If they don't feel that way, you know what? Let them go so they can find someone that they can feel the same way about as they feel about them, right? And I can do the same thing on my end, right? I had to learn to let go of my past to reach future success and to allow other people into my life. There was a point in time that I didn't allow any women in my life in my 20s, right? I mean, like I said, by the time I got to my late 20s, early 30s, I never let any breakup or any situation that didn't work out with a woman prevent me from putting myself back out there as quickly as possible. Now, I wouldn't suggest, putting yourself back out right away the same day or that same week after you break up with somebody or they break up with you, especially if it's been a year or two or longer relationship. I would take a couple, 2-3 weeks, a month off, focus on yourself. If you gain a little bit of weight, lose a little bit of weight, make sure you get out and take walks and go hiking and exercise and kicking those endorphins and just, give yourself at least 2 weeks to a month or so to try to let go of that emotional attachment as much as possible. Now, it's not going to be completely gone, even after a month or two, but it'll be more gone than if you were to put yourself out there initially and try to connect with someone and they would realize, oh, this person just got out of a relationship. Oh, they're not ready to move on. They're attached to somebody else, right? People will pick up on that. So give yourself some time in between relationships before you put yourself out there. But you have to learn to let go of what's happened to you in the past in order to move forward. I see this issue much more with women than with men because women are emotional beings. Like I always say, they respond to everything emotionally first based on how they're feeling in the present moment. And there are a lot of guys out there that play games and manipulate women into believing that they want a relationship with them. So they convince the woman to sleep with them on the first date and they have sex with the woman once or twice and then they ghost the woman because all they wanted to do is, get sex, right? And what does that do to that woman or those women that go through situations like that with guys that do that or do those kinds of things, right? It makes them jaded. It makes them wonder that, is every guy like this? If I put myself back out there, how can I be sure that the next guy that's interested in me or shows interest is genuine, is not just going to try to manipulate me for a one-night stand or a two-night stand? Well, here's the truth of the matter. You're not going to know until you take a chance. And my advice to you ladies that are putting a guard up and a wall up, okay, because you fear being used for sex, by a guy that's approaching you legitimately, right? Okay? you're going to miss out on good men or a good man that could have come into your life if you hold the past against that guy just because a few other guys played that game with you. Okay, I've encountered many women before I met the woman I'm with today. Okay, I encountered many women that were jaded because of this. I've encountered many women that wanted to sleep with me on the first date, but they said, I'm not going to do it because the last time I did it, the guy used me for a one night stand. And I'm like, why is this woman even telling me this, right? Many women told me this, in the past before I met this woman, that I'm dating nowadays, right? And that to me, when a woman is that jaded and that guarded and hasn't let the past go, okay, if in the past when I was on a first date with women before I met this woman I'm with today, okay, if they came off jaded and held back from doing certain things such as making out or intimacy because of what happened in the past, that would be my cue to exit stage right, okay, or stage left, whichever way is closer. Run for the closest exit, right? Because that's going to be a waste of time. That woman's going to put you through the ringer. She's going to shit test you to death. And she's going to make you wait to be intimate with her for 5 or 10 dates. And quite frankly, that's just, there's no decent normal guy on the planet that's going to continue seeing any woman nowadays past 2 or 3 dates if sex hasn't happened by then. That's just the way things are. Sex is an important part of a relationship. If the sexual connection isn't there, in addition to the mental, emotional, spiritual, etc., it's just not going to work out. So why delay finding out if you have the overall connection? Why delay it 10 dates and then on the 10th date, okay, you sleep together and the sex is horrible, and so you break up when you could have found it out the first, second, or third date. It's not about trying to rush into it and trying to sleep with people as quickly as possible. It's about trying to find out as quickly as possible if the man and the woman have the overall connection, and that includes intimacy. But because of what men have done to women in the past, use them for sex, right? They get jaded, right? Ladies, you have to look at it this way. It's an experience. If you date a few guys and you have sex with them the first or second date and they never see you again, chalk that up as an experience. Let it go and put yourself back out there and just say, hey, it wasn't meant to be, right? Maybe the guy was really into her, but maybe he thought the sex sucked. Maybe he just didn't feel right after they were intimate. That can happen. Sometimes the woman doesn't feel right and doesn't want to see the guy because the intimacy was bad, right? Chalk it up to that and don't let it prevent you from putting yourself back out there unguarded, unscathed, and that way you can show up being the best version of yourself you can be to attract what you want. You got to let go of everything in the past in order to reach future success. Another thing, okay? I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. I've been trolled and hated upon unlike anything you've seen. I've had people come at me in real life and on YouTube. I've had people dox my family. I've had people dox me. I've had people dox people I care for, right? I've had people attack an ex-girlfriend on a former channel. I've been through the ringer and back, right? But I let that shit go. I let it go. And I'm still here. And I've moved past it. I've risen above it. You gotta let it go like I did if you want to reach success. Okay? Get the point? Let that shit go. Let everything go. Don't let anything bother you or faze you. If someone does you wrong, hey, say it is what it is. Let it go. Take a little time off for yourself. Put yourself back out there and keep trying to accomplish whatever it is you want, whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, okay, or whether it's a certain job you're trying to get, or whether it's a certain business you're trying to run, like myself. You're trying to be a successful YouTuber. Keep pushing forward. Don't let anyone stand in the way of your success. Don't let the past hinder your success. And that's where I'm going to wrap this video here today. I want to thank you all for taking the time to view it. Hope you all learned something new. Another video is coming to this channel soon. Please like, share, subscribe, bang the bell, bang, bang the bell. Select the notifications. Have yourselves a great, great, great day, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.